All right, we are live.
All right. Yes! What's up, people? Welcome back to another riveting episode of the ABCs of TBBs. I am one of your hosts, Seed.
This is Ninja Dave.
And we are back in effect with our M episode, sir.
The M. This is the long-awaited, highly anticipated.
The highly anticipated episode.
We're going to be reviewing Mouse Guard and the Metabarons. But before we get into Seed's review, and I'm sure it's going to be glowing with praise for the Metabarons. There's no other way it can be. I got a couple of items to talk shop on.
All right.
The first being, and hold your horses. Hang on to your britches there. Dave is admitting on air that he was wrong.
Oh man, I just can't wait to have all the compilation clips at the end of times Dave admits he's wrong. Now, what are you wrong about, sir?
I jumped the gun on low, good sir. My estimation of it of the no-go was in haste.
It was in haste. Okay.
I forced myself to continue reading. I will say that the artwork still did not hold my interest, but the story really gripped me.
Okay, so what made you be like, all right, let me keep, after a firm no-go, something made you say, I'm going to keep reading this shit.
Well,
why?
I felt like I didn't give it a fair, I felt like I didn't give it a fair shake. I mean, I attempted reading it the first time, and I was kind of, and then when we came around to the ABCs of TPBs, and now I have this new excuse to rediscover it, I found myself dragging those initial biases back with me. So this time I forced myself to continue. I really got invested in the characters and the storyline, and it actually really was good. The theme, the overall theme, which Lowe pulls from, is of that. It's kind of that spiritual belief that how you carry yourself and how you maintain optimism, or how you view the world versus how others do, and it worked so well together. It's bitter, it's bittersweet. It's kind of has some melancholy tones to it, but it I guess where I am in my life, it resonated with me.
All right, then. When we read it for ABCs, I also had attempted to read it before, and I brought my initial biases in with it. And this time around, I was like, "Yep, I'm still right. This joint is whackness." Okay. But good for you, sir. I'm glad you were able to revisit this and enjoy a story.
Yeah.
If we're gonna continue on a backwards path, you just returned Killer Be Killed, volumes 2 and 3.
I did.
You're still enjoying this business?
I am, and I want to get to volume 4.
It just hit shelves, sir.
Woo!
The final volume of Killer Be Killed just hit shelves.
Have you read it?
No, I get paid on. Now, I've been reading it by trades. I read the first, I think, 3 or 4 issues as they happen, and I was like, why do I keep buying singles when I know I'm going to buy the trade? I'm not double dipping. Sometimes I will for Image. I was like, I might as well just wait for the trades. So I get paid on Friday from old Bank O America, and immediately after work, I'm headed to the comic book store to pick myself up Volume 4 of Killer Be Killed.
I may bump into you there.
You may, well, if there's only one copy I saw sitting on the shelf, so let me call and reserve that shit real fast. But I'll just slide it to you when I'm done. So you know how these things go.
I appreciate it.
The M episode, though. We're
about to get to the M episode.
What else you got for me?
I mean, it's the Salean, man.
Yeah, so I'm gonna just go ahead and go on record and say I lost the fuck out this joint.
What? Yeah. What do you mean? I know our goal was 20 pounds, and but aside from my 2 weeks in basic training and Navy SEALdom. Which was highly successful, by the way.
I don't know why I continually find that so funny.
I mean, after I died a few times, and luckily my friends, I had some necromancer friends.
Oh, okay.
They brought me back.
Like, not yet, Dave.
Not yet. It's not your time.
It's not your time, Dave.
Your work is not through.
It's not until the conquest of France in 2032.
Exactly. But how much weight did you end up losing?
I ended up losing a total of 1 pound. I gained weight, sir.
You gained weight again?
Yeah,
all right, well, so you
lost,
but you still lost, and I lost. I think it was 2 pounds when all said and done.
All said and done.
So
you win by us.
No, I can't say win. I think we're both winners.
Are we both winners?
Yeah, I think that we're both because the gains of our loss is almost immeasurable. So I'm gonna call this a tie, good sir.
Oh, good sir.
Now we're calling it a tie. Do we each buy each other those trades, or do we just call it a wash?
We call it. I'll just go buy the trades for ourselves. That was the most anticlimactic. We've been pushing the joint for like 2 months now, 3 months. Oh well.
Well, you see where we live. It's America. We're all fat.
I mean, you live very close to my favorite taco spot, so that didn't help.
That didn't help.
Didn't help at all.
It didn't help.
Every time I go over to your place to record, I'm like, let me knock this one time. But I sure shit ate that the other day, though. It was delicious.
Just got to make up for it.
Yeah. I'd make up for it by just going back again one more time to make sure it's still good.
Yeah.
Any other, besides our M issues, any other comics you've been reading lately, sir?
Oh, let's see here. What did I... Oh, I picked up Ta-Nehisi Coates' Captain America.
Oh, we're 2 issues into that right now?
2 issues into it. I was interested in because, of course, he's written Black Panther. I've read some of his work. And, I've read his last book as well, 8 Years We Were in Power. And I read an article an interview that they did on him. I think The Atlantic did on him, where they said, "Oh, okay, so you'll be writing Captain America, a white man, essentially a white nationalist." He's like, and they're like, "Well, what made you decide to do it?" He's like, "Well, 2 reasons. One, they handed it to me and said, 'Hey, would you like to write this?' And then 2, because I didn't think I could do it."
First of all, that's dope on different levels for me. Yeah. I'm sure Marvel's very familiar with his work. I'm pretty sure that's why they asked him to do Black Panther. And the fact that they would turn around again and be like, well, let's see with his particular viewpoint in this world, let's see how he handles our, I would say, and some would say flagship character in Captain America. I think props for Marvel for giving him that opportunity. Props on him for taking up the challenge, man. He could have gone an easy, safe road and gone off to do another book or something like that. Right. But I like a person who will stand up for a good challenge.
That's right.
Yeah. And how are you liking? Have you read both or just the first?
I've read both issues so far. It's okay.
Yeah.
I think his self narration is the highlight of the book for me. It's his introspection,
inner monologue.
Yeah, inner monologue. That's the biggest portion for me. Because it centers around the fallout right after it was revealed that the Hydra Cap was not Steve Rogers. It was some other Cap.
So the Cube changed Cap. That's what it was, right?
Well, I think they may have retconned it because they're like, he had my face. He was a monster. I mean, even what's her name? Agent 13.
Sharon Carter.
Yeah, Sharon Carter. She said there was a scene in there where she's like, "So my God, he was pure evil, and my God, he even touched me, Steve." It's kind of so it shows that she was intimate with him at some point, but it wasn't actually Cap. It was an imposter kind of deal. So
everybody who was initially all up in arms back during the Nick Spencer run. Come on, it's comic books. You knew that wasn't. You knew it was going to be something wonky. By the way, I read Secret Empire because so many people are like, hashtag not my Cap and all this kind of business. I enjoyed the fuck out of Secret Empire, man. So this is at the fall of all that. So this is modern day Steve back to just doing Cap stuff.
Yeah, and then, Thunderbolt Ross and Sharon Carter and Bucky are front and center. And they're like, well, Cap, this is kind of a different America. We got, appearances matter. You're defeating all these guys with the American flags on their faces, and you also wear the American flag colors. You might just want to hold off on the whole vigilante thing. Let us do our thing.
Okay.
We appreciate your service, but stand down, soldier. Stand down.
Yeah.
So that he's dealing with that stuff right now.
Okay, so he's dealing with not exactly being wanted on the front lines.
Exactly.
Okay, then. Okay. That's one good thing a lot of people gave Age of Ultron crap. One good thing I like about that is Ultron knew Cap to the T. The one scene, he's like Captain America, a man pretending he could live without war. Like, that's what Cap is for. That's what he's bred for. That's what he knows how to do. Yeah. You tell him to stand down, then what is he? It is an identity issue. Like, who am I if you take away my greatest asset?
Exactly. And if he no longer had, how does he then express his pride in the American dream?
I don't think he needs to at this point. I mean, he's been doing it for how many years?
He's been doing it for a while.
He's been doing it for a while. People know his pride. He can fall back and let the young cats take this game. Let the champions come in.
I mean, yeah, he just got his youth and his vigor back, and you know what? I mean, what would you do? Would you just take a chill pill, or would you be like, get back out there?
I fought in the war, in World War II. Fought, I'm pretty sure, made bones then, all right? Got stuck in this ice for years upon end. It came out, fought for another who knows how long Marvel Comics continuity's been supposedly going on, all right? I got old, I got young again. After I get young again, I'm chilled the hell out. Well, I'm telling Sharon, look, let's just go away somewhere.
The thing is...
And have a vacation.
The thing is, like I said,
Bucky's got this.
His job never ends.
Yes, it does.
It doesn't.
No, he doesn't. He's fighting because he doesn't want it to end.
He's fighting for the dream, and there's always stuff that's going on.
Can't fight an ideology, man. Can't fight an ideology. You can't go to war with it. You can't fight it.
But he's also a living ideology.
He is a living ideology.
So he's fighting amongst himself. That's another thing that happens in the book.
Really?
I should have brought those issues over and let you take them.
Is he fighting his own reputation? You say? Is he still trying to prove himself?
His reputation has been tarnished a bit in the American eyes because there's the age of social media and everyone sees he was the face of the Hydra takeover.
Yeah,
and so like can he be trusted? It shows him rescuing a civilian and them just being terrified of him. You know? So yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting look. I kind of have that same feeling though when I was reading Coates's Black Panther. I was like, it's really cool. I like the writer. Yeah. I like the character that he's writing. I dig what's going on, but it's not quite pulling me into it just yet.
I heard a lot of people saying that about the Panther run.
Yeah.
The Cat run.
It's not bad. It's just it's missing something compelling to me.
Yeah. Cap was never my favorite dude. Actually, I find Cap almost as boring as I find Superman. They're supposed to be, they are the reflectives of their respective universes. I find both of them pretty damn boring. Like Stark is my dude, and
we know that.
Yeah, and then we have
the biggest villain of the MC, all the Marvel universes combined.
Yeah, that's absolutely incorrect. And now we have Dan Slott, the Spider-Man writer, that's doing Tony Stark Iron Man, and that's been pretty damn interesting so far. Yeah.
And was that Superior Iron Man? Have you been reading that?
I read I read Superior Spider-Man, and I read Superior Iron Man.
Oh, I guess you should read Superior Iron Man.
Yeah.
That he just goes balls out. He's like, hey, you need to brainwash some folks. Need to hold some people hostage with a virus. I'm down.
Yeah, because he
not unlike a supervillain might.
I mean, he was being controlled in that whole joint, though.
But was he though?
Yeah.
But
yes,
was he?
He was. He was. Anyways, let's get to these M issues, sir.
Arno Stark's a better Stark. What?
Get out of here. Yeah. So we're talking about Mouse Guard.
No wait. Well, we are talking about. Oh, okay, yeah, that's right. Because you're talking about the one that you recommended. Yeah. I'm talking about the one. I was going to let you take the lead on Metabarons, man. I was about
So, Dave, how this show works is in one half of the show, this being my half, we're going to talk about the book that I suggested. So excited to get to Metabarons. Forgot we had a different book to talk about.
Totally. I was like, are we just talking about Metabarons this time?
No, there is another book here, sir. There's another book here.
All right, fair enough.
It's Mouse Guard.
Fair enough.
Fall of 1152. Written by David Peterson. It is about, they have the Mouse territories, which he put it in not an American year, an Earth year.
An Earth year.
Which I assume makes this Earth time. Just these Mouse territories are some unspecified location on Earth. It takes place in the year 1150.
We don't know
where exactly
we don't even know if humans are a thing.
Yeah.
But we know that predators exist.
We know that definitely. Predators do exist. And it is just a story about these mice who just have this whole community, and they're just doing their damn mouse shit, man. They're just trying to to live and thrive and be a society that, protects each other, stays aware of the predators. They mentioned like the Weasel War, and they've gone to war with a couple other different species. Mm-hmm. And this story focuses on the Mouse Guard, kind of like their version of the Musketeers. The
Musketeers, the Knights Templar.
Yeah, the Knights Templar. Yeah. Americans don't have anything like this. And it's just the story of them and then doing their general chivalrous shit. Mm-hmm. They work as escorts if it needs something, needs safe transport. They're there for protection, for bodyguards, all this kind of things.
I will say this: there's a bit of a we come in on an advanced part of the storyline, I guess the timeline, because the Guard have had their heyday, and now it's almost like the Jedi. It's like now that these communities and these territories have started to work together, the Guard, the Mouse Guard are not needed in the same way that they were before. They're not needed to enforce and avenge and this kind of thing. It's more like, let's just protect this caravan.
Yeah, they've gone from more offensive to defense.
Exactly.
I assume that's kind of why it's set in the fall, because it's like the twilight of the Mouse Guard. Same thing why in Lord of the Rings, when come upon Rivendell, it looks very fall. The leaves are falling all over the place because it's elves' time ending in Middle Earth. Same type deal. Or 20 years after, if you're a Musketeers fan, Man of the Iron Mask, kind of the Musketeers are aged out, and that's kind of the case here. They're still recruiting, but kind of aged out. So this whole volume is it is a plot. A plot is someone is trying to infiltrate their main stronghold and just take that shit down from the inside out. We follow 4 individuals whose names I don't have written down in front of me.
That's all right. We've got Saxon, we've got Liam, we've got, let's see here.
We are flipping through our various joints.
Am I flipping where we're just kind of...
And Kenzie.
And Kenzie, yes.
Yeah,
Kenzie.
Saxon, Liam, and Kenzie.
And then the female, that's the other agent.
Is that Gwendolyn?
No, Gwendolyn is she's the matriarch. She's the one that leads.
Yeah.
She leads that. But I have to run into wherever it's at.
Yeah, you have to get to the second issue.
Yeah, we'll get to her.
Yeah, so you just got we find out that they are attempting, that there is a plot to storm Lockhaven, which is pretty much where that's their Washington D.C. I guess you could put it.
Sure.
And it's the whole thing is just like trying to unravel who these guys are, what's the motives, what's the intentions, and how do we stop these cats?
Very simple, straightforward.
It is a very simple, straightforward joint. Sadie. Sadie's working the other part of that story. So our 3, Kenzie, Saxon, and the other third mouse. I'm always going to forget at least one other name.
That's fine.
They're
D'Artagnan.
They're D'Artagnan. They kind of come on one half of the plot where Sadie comes in, finds out that there's an issue from a different side of the story. So they're kind of working the candle from both ends. Both ends meet the middle. Or as they're working as a group, Sadie's by herself doing her thing. She's been out there loaning it for a while now. We find out that the Black Axe are the guys that are, that's what they're calling themselves. They're the ones that's going to take this shit down. And then, everything comes to a head at Lockhaven. Now, this whole thing was done by David Peterson. He wrote it, he drew it, he lettered it. What did you think about this business? This isn't your first time reading it.
No, it's not my first time. I've read it before. I read it when it first came out.
Okay.
And I enjoyed it then. I didn't catch the next volumes in the series, but I enjoyed it for what it was. I loved the feel of it, the vibe of it, the fact that it was it was mice, and this gets kind of a grand scale brought down to a smaller scale, if you will. One thing that strikes me, the artwork is crisp, it's clear, it's cute, it's gory, deadly.
Yeah.
The dialogue is sparse.
Yeah, it is.
There's a lot that takes place that's just
visual,
just things, either action or establishing scenes or just kind of a backdrop, and it kind of gives that feel that the world is more lived in, and that you almost bring more of your imagination into the story just to kind of fill in those gaps.
Yeah.
He doesn't choke the page with dialogue. He just seems like he just gives just enough to keep things going forward. Which, as from a minimalist standpoint, it's not bad.
I am glad that he does not choke the page with dialogue, because this lettering leaves a little something to be desired for me.
I think he should have gotten a bit of another course in lettering.
Yeah, another course, or if you had to spring for anything, lettering should have been what he sprung for.
Well, I see what he was going for with the lettering. It does have that kind of that old timey script feel to it. It can be a little tough on the eyes to do. You have to. I mean, if I didn't have the guided reading mode on this digital copy that I have, it might have been tougher haul.
Yeah, it really feels like he just created the bubbles and then just went to Microsoft Word.
Hey, it's that old English.
Type that shit.
The old English, but like I say, that's the kind of the vibe he's going for.
What did you think about so some of the predators we see? We run across in the first issue the giant snake. They got to fight with the giant snake. We have
crabs.
Giant a small army of crabs that unfortunately clap a character up. What do you think about the threats in this one? You're talking about everything being kind of small scale and minimal. What do you think about the threats in this business? It's
the threats.
It's almost comparable like the threats you see in Ant-Man.
I guess you could see. I guess you could say that. The fact that the predators don't speak is, I think it. It's kind of a double-edged sword. It could be more menacing if they were to speak and vocalize their intent, but also them just being silent killing machines is another element of dread that it works. But I think I didn't feel at any point that they were really in trouble, because I know the Mouse Guard are pretty adept at their killing arts. But yeah, I just never felt. I never felt fear for the characters when they were facing off against these giant beasts. It was more. Yeah. I felt more tension when they were fighting other mice.
Yeah, that's kind of the same feeling I get. Like they were just kind of there to provide an action beat. Like the snake pops up and. They're just like, I guess we gotta go fight this snake now. Yeah, I don't even know if the snake was there to fuck with him. The snake would have been going to the grocery store for a minute.
The action sequences with the predators seem to be missing a little something. It's like if I go to this when they were fighting the snake initially, when it shows up and it coils around them, it's tough to. I mean, you see the in the background, so you get the slithering, but then it's coils around the air and it's around him. But you never get a sense that it's actually doing anything. It's just kind of there all of a sudden. Yeah. And it doesn't. And the characters themselves don't even seem to really react to it, and they just start attacking it. And they slash. One of the first maneuvers, they slash one of its fangs off. Like I say, I didn't feel a threat from it. You know,
I thought the crabs posed more of a threat than the snakes did.
Yeah. But even then, only because one of the character that they actually got had no leg. So
that's a good point. That's good. Yeah. They picked off the easy one.
All right.
So the final assault on Lockhaven. Well, what do you think that was a good climax for this volume?
It was done well, and it brought back the original Black Axe to retrieve his weapon. I thought that had some really good choreographed action.
Yeah, that's a good moment. It's almost reminiscent of like in Game of Thrones, like the attack on the wall. Yeah, they're trying to defend their little.
It was a really good castle siege.
Yeah, it was a good castle siege. Yeah, I thought this story was decent enough. Up until that point, I was like, "Oh, that ending was pretty damn well done." They caught one of your boys, so he had to free himself, and then he shows up all in the middle of nowhere, like, "I'm here to fight too." So that was pretty cool. I like the way it ended more than anything else. I'd say, yeah.
I would say that it's a go for me, but on the same token, it's more like it almost kind of had that serialized. Calvin Hobbes kind of feel to it. It's like, hey, if someone puts down a volume of Mouse Guard, I'll read it. Yeah. But am I going to go seek it out? Not really.
Yeah, I think that's kind of how I feel about it. Like I'm not going to no-go it, but I'm not going to go it either.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to, it's just like, I'm not going to,
Like, the only way I pick up another...
Not like, hey, I'm really looking forward to the next entry kind of deal. It's just like, this is nice.
Yeah, the only way I'm picking up another one of these if I find a nice sale going on somewhere. I'm like, all right, $3, I can't beat that. It'll be something to read on a Sunday afternoon.
After I bought these originals, then they had like a little compendium thing given out on a free comic book day a few years back, and I was like, oh, cool, free mouse guard. It came in a nice little hardcover thing. It was like a little mini tail, but it was in a hardcover, so it was nice. I was like, this is pretty nice. It was free. And I got it and read it and enjoyed it.
Yeah, David Peterson, for the last 3 years, I want to say, at Heroes Con.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I've seen him last couple of times. I can't nothing for him to sign because I have mine digital. But when I first heard about this, the reason I picked this up, it was somebody that I worked with at the theater, and I think they oversold it a bit. It's Mouse Guard it's his Metabarons, put it like that. I think he might have oversold it a little bit because he was like, just the epic nature of these mice doing these crazy battles. So that's what I was expecting. Yeah, this wasn't quite that.
Yeah, it's I mean, like it's not. I won't say it's gory. There's some deaths and there's stabbings and and that type of thing. It's nothing over the top. So I mean, when you look at the cover and it's like, what's this recommended for? It's like pages 2 and up. I'm like, it's you kind of. I mean, anyone can enjoy it, and that adds to the appeal of it. But yeah, it's just like I say, it's nice. It's just it doesn't compel me to want to just go out and grab the next volume. I would read more. So I'll call mine a go.
Okay.
But I'm not in a hurry.
I'm not in a hurry. I'll call my go a stroll. I'm not a strolling. I'm not going to go
traipse to the next volume.
There you go. You go. It's going to be a nice casual traipse. I'm not going to seek it out, but if someone were like, "Hey, birthday, I got you the I think winter comes next. I got you the winter of 1152." I'd be like, "Yeah, okay. Yeah. Why not? I'll sit down and check this out." Yeah.
Sounds good.
You got anything else about David Peterson's Mouse Guard, sir?
Yeah, I mean, the artwork was great. The dialogue was it served its purpose. I wasn't turned off by the lettering choices, even though, like I said, even there was a slight strain on the eye, but I thought it read well. It didn't have fluff. There was no point where I felt exhausted. I was like, oh, let me be done with this. It flowed nicely. I enjoyed it. I recommend you read it.
All right, then there you go. You heard it there from Dave. Recommend you read it. I say get around to you when you get around to it. You know what the best part is? No, I'm going to say it's a bit harsh.
You about to say the previews for
books? It was like, oh, okay, there's some other shit that Archaea comes out with. But yeah. I think that's it, man. You got anything else for the guarding of mice?
That's it.
All right, then we're going to take ourselves a break of some sort, and we will be right back to get into the Metabarons.
Thor didn't say where he was going for answers?
Sometimes my teammates don't tell me things. I was kind of hoping Thor would be the exception.
Yeah, give him time. We don't know what the Maximoff kid showed him.
Earth's mightiest heroes. Pulled us apart like cotton candy.
Seems like you walked away all right.
Is that a problem?
I don't trust a guy without a dark side. Call me old-fashioned.
Well, let's just say you haven't seen it yet.
You know Ultron's trying to tear us apart, right?
Well, I guess you'd know. Whether you tell us is a bit of a question.
Banner and I were doing research.
That would affect the team.
That would end the team. Isn't that the mission? Isn't that the why we fight? So we can end the fight? So we get to go home?
Every time someone tries to win a war before it starts, innocent people die. Every time.
We are back. The Metabaron has you. We are pulling up. And I guess this is different for us because Mouse Guard was published by who? Archaea. Metabarons is published by Humanoids Publishing, which is a French publisher. Originally, the original translation of the Metabarons was also in French. So what we have here is a good old English translation, written by Alejandro Jodorowsky and drawn by Juan Jimenez. And if you get the the Ultimate Collection, the hardback. You get a forward by Matt Fraction.
Yes, by the Fraction. Does mine come with the forward with Fraction? No, it doesn't.
It does not. You gotta get the Ultimate. If nothing else, you could crack it open and take a look here. I mean, you can feel free to read it.
Thank you, sir.
But we're dealing with the Metabarons. This is a tale. It's all this time. No, a tale spanning the galaxies of the galaxy's strongest warriors. It's a class. It's a family, the Kataska family name, and it follows the adventures of each generation of these Metabarons. They just through happenstance and just chance and just the way that the clan starts. There's a ritual in which the father must in some way mutilate the son, and the son must kill the father in combat to become the next Metabaron.
Yes.
It just, this thing is kind of like Conan the Barbarian in space. The dialogue itself is just raw. I think it's lent more from just the translation from French to English, but I found it oddly compelling, oddly strong. It was the entire story. It's such a struggle. There's so much going on.
Before we get too deep into
all
this,
right.
This is the Dave's ABC of TPB.
I'm so wrecked right now. You just can't. I'm just hiding my wreck with this hardback.
This is the Dave Cunningham, the Ninja Dave book. This is your jam.
This is my jam. This is the thing that I think everyone needs to read.
Okay, all right. My one thing is not even in ABCs of TPBs. Strangely, because I was like, that's a big book. We're not going to do any big books.
What's yours?
Obviously, it's the Watchmen, dude. The Watchmen is the pinnacle.
Well, we still have time before we get to W's. You have time. I have the Watchmen. We can make a Watchmen special.
I got my W, sir. Or maybe we'll do a Watchmen. Maybe that's what we'll do. We get to the Z's, we do a number, and then if we decide to do anything more after that, we'll
flip a coin.
We'll get into some of like the the Watchmen's or your V for Vendettas,
Jello wrestling, midget boxing.
Well, I mean, that's just a Thursday for me. So. But this is your jam.
This is my jam.
All right.
What did you think of my jam, sir?
As far as I got into it, I got the first. So the way you have it is one giant book. The way I have it is all 8 volumes in digital. I got 3 in. I was about to start 4 before I crashed on the couch.
3 volumes in. That's a lot of issues.
So the way I do believe it being set up is each volume, if I saw on Comicsology right, is 50 some odd pages. So yeah, I got about 150, 160 pages into this joint.
You read quite a bit.
Yeah. I'm just shy of the halfway mark. Yeah, I enjoyed it thus far. I enjoyed it. It draws, we'll say borrows, very heavily from Dune. And by very heavily, I mean very heavily.
Very heavily. Dune and Star Wars.
Dune, I'd say far more Dune than Star Wars. I mean, and of course, Alejandro Jodorowsky is a person who was at one point supposed to make a Dune movie. If you haven't seen the documentary Jodorowsky's Dune, go out there and check that out.
Now, his artwork is just. Well, we'll get to it.
Yeah. Have you ever read Dune?
Yes.
Okay. Then. All right then. So you saw some of the parallels drawn between all that kind of good stuff. Well, by parallels, I mean just unused ideas from his version of Dune. All right then, cool. The artwork I thought is okay. I thought the artwork was the kind of the weaker parts.
The weaker part, you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say the weaker parts of this. I thought the story was epic in scope. Artwork was okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because he drew and painted this stuff. He's kind of like the Alex Ross of
Spaniards.
Well, I guess Alex Ross would be the
Jodorowsky. Yeah,
I don't know which one's
older. I don't know which one's older. I'm going to assume Jodorowsky because the dude looks like he's 100 years old.
Yeah. The style of like stuff like this, where it has that techno-organic kind of look to it, there's weird stuff in it, and I like that weird. It's almost, it's not quite. Was it not Geisel? No, the guy who did the Aliens. Geiger. Yes. H.R. Geiger. Yes. It's Geiger-esque in some ways, but it's raw and it's gritty.
Yeah,
and it's I don't know. It kind of has that used future kind of look to it, which is very very Dune-ish.
Very Dune. It's very Star Wars-ish.
Yeah.
It's the way it's structured. I think is pretty cool. Like everything we're reading is just a story being told from one robot to another robot. I'm wondering how he decided to pace this out, because there is not an iota of humor anywhere in stories themselves.
Right. The
humor, if that's what you want to call it at times, is between the two robots.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if he came up with the story and wrote it down, and he was like, damn, this shit is bleak. I need to spice this up a little bit. And decided that he's like, well, maybe if someone else is telling someone else the story, that'll throw a little bit of humor into it. So maybe I in my head, I think that the robots might have been retroactively put in there to punch it up a little bit, as it were.
Maybe so, because I mean, the story of the Metabarons, it's a sordid history. It's just struggle after struggle, contamination after contamination. It's just it's heartbreaking, heart-wrenching.
So I've made it through, I think at this point, 3 Barons.
3 better.
Othon, I forget the middle dude, and Agnar. Agnar's pops, I forget. Well, Othon's son, I forget. Of the 3 that I've made it through so far, who is your preferred? Now, I haven't really gotten into what Agnar can do as a full-grown person yet. I'm going to get into that in Volume 4. But do you have a preferred Baron out of these so far?
That's strange, because the first,
or is your Baron like later on somewhere?
Well, I like all the Barons for all the Metabarons for different reasons. The original, because of he started the tradition. He was mutilated and he had his genitals mutilated. And how does he respond? He builds a phallic ship, plugs himself into it, and uses himself as a control rod to control the ship. That fit his personality. As far as favorite Baron, because they all undergo so much stress and strain.
Yeah, like if it got down to me and I was a line, I'm like, yo, I'm just getting a job at Target.
Yeah,
I'm keeping a low profile. This stress is for the birds.
You know what?
Or whatever passes for birds on these planets.
I think that I would go with the original because the story kicked off and it followed him for so much. For so long.
Fuck that dude. First of all, well, but by the original, do you mean the Metabaron that starts a story, or because I think in the first volume it passes on to somebody else?
No, the first Metabaron.
The first. Okay, so the one that passed
chronologically the first. Yes, the first Katasca with the Phoenix. Yeah. I mean, he's where it all began, and he's where like the traditions spawn from there, and then like each power that each son or daughter carries on. They just build upon that and just go from there. So it's like I say, it's just I don't know. I would say the original Metabaron.
I'm not a big fan because like they got this secret, the super secret of what's not spice.
Right.
Word gets out and everybody comes to try to steal her shit. The original dude, after word gets out, he's like, "Fuck this, I'm out," and dies. Kind of a cop-out move. No, that's not the dude you're talking about. You're talking about the dude that passed he passed. Okay, so that's the first. First.
The
all
first,
right, yeah. That first old dude is just like, war's coming. I ain't for this shit.
Right.
And dip. That dude was a sucker-ass punk.
Right. But from the ashes.
You get a couple of cool dudes. Kind of just some weird shit. I expected I was going to get weird when I saw who wrote it, because that dude is nuts.
Yeah.
He's certifiably nuts. But it has been interesting so far to read. I'll say that.
Well, what do you find that's been interesting so far? What sticks out to you?
I don't even know where to start, dude. I don't know where to start with this. I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed how it began, like their humble beginnings. Like, yo, we got marble. You want some marbly shit? Cool. Calm down. Drop us a couple ducats. We'll carve some marble out. We'll throw you a party. And then when you pass off from the party, you wake up. The marble's gonna be in the shit ready to go. That's the best hospitality you could find on a planet.
Right.
Right?
It's like barbarians that happened upon something that everybody wants.
It's happened upon something, and then you're like, oh, how do you get the marble on this ship? Well, nobody really knows that.
Right.
That joint gets ousted and exposed, and then it's on from there. So I really like how everything gets kicked off. I think the best thing that I had read thus far was Othon's son. Was it? No, not Othon's son. Othon, because he's the first dude that gets passed along to. Yeah, and then he had the son, but that son got clapped up by him accidentally. Right? Yeah. Okay. So then that part. So some ish goes down. He broke his own son's legs to make sure he didn't get killed up in the war, and then as compensation, he gets a horse, dope ass horse, the last horse, right?
That's right.
Last horse in the galaxy. So people come and steal that horse because you can't leave well enough alone.
You can't leave it enough
in this galaxy.
Yeah.
And he didn't have the faith in his son, man. That whole joint. As I was reading it, I was like, in my head, I was like, if I were writing it, what I would do is, oh shit, that's what happened.
Right.
That joint, I was like, oh, this is an interesting story. His desire for to have another kid leads to some even more wild business going down, and then you got whore priestesses coming in,
Whore priestesses, the Shabdaoud,
the not Benny Jesuits coming in, trying to make the not Kwisatz Haderach the hermaphrodite of the galaxy.
There was so much stuff from doing
in there.
But the thing is, it's kind of it had that pulpy, dirty sci-fi kind of stuff to it.
Yeah. Interesting to say the least. Interesting. What about you, sir? What sticks out in your mind? We got kids getting feet crushed and all sorts of wild stuff.
It's just the fact that these guys cannot have peace, and they fully embrace their roles. There's some that kind of try to fight or try to do things a little bit differently, but the tradition keeps drawing them back in, and they whether they want to or not, they end up continuing the tradition in some way or another. It just
it's
keeps
almost like
going.
it's preordained.
Yeah. Even the current the Metabaron that you start out seeing first.
Yeah, the dude with the mutilated ear.
The mutilated ear. Yeah. Let's say, but you see he's essentially a hologram. I guess something protecting the meta bunker. When you get to them, that's the Metabaron that's in that Metabaron series that I think that you were like, is this should I read this one or should I read this other one? So that's the Metabaron. That's like essentially the second to current Metabaron that's in that series. There's another one that came after that, and he's of a different breed. But just so many things. The let's say the technoganic ships, the different and let's say you haven't read these portions, but the techno priests, just all the galactic intrigue, everything that these guys get into and that they're subjected to, and it's just suffering. As they continue to suffer, and they just do it because they feel driven to it. It's the family honor. It's their own passions involved in things. That they never do anything halfway. It's all or nothing.
Yeah. Ain't no half stepping Metabarons.
Not at all, man.
Even the one that got his feet crushed ain't a half stepping Metabaron.
Right.
And you got dudes being injected with floaty juice, and there's so much stuff that's going on.
Yeah, you lace your own body with mini Oko bombs that can destroy galaxies. If you're killed, you take out the part of the universe with you.
There's a lot of business going on in this joint. It is interesting. I'll say that. It's interesting.
It just keeps going, man.
It just keeps going.
It just keeps going. Like I said, you were in the first 3. You start in the 4th. It just keep reading.
It's just gonna get more wild.
Yeah.
All right then.
So I mean, what are your any other observations? Is this a go, no go for you?
I mean, yeah, it's a go. I mean, I bought them joints, so I'm gonna read them.
Okay.
They're also like $2.99 on sale, so I could not buy them. The techno babble is a little bit weird sometimes, but this is written in like in the 90s. I want to say like the early 90s.
And again, this is it's translated from French.
It's also translated. Yeah. Also, Gorath's just a weird ass dude who come up with stuff like that.
Yeah, the thing is, it just has it's kind of an endearing quality to that universe. It's like it's completely silly, but everybody's just fully into it. You know? Yeah. If I just grab just random. Let's grab something here that was something that's completely inside the temporal fissure.
You talking about just random techno babble?
Just random techno. Wrapped up as they were in the preparation for the complex surgery.
There's nothing techno babbly about complex surgery.
Paleo numbskull.
Yeah, like to be called paleo is something, I guess, is an insult that kind of harkens back to us regular humans.
Right.
Is the way I take
Psychocellular catalepsy.
Yeah. Well, what is that? What is that? I don't. Some of the stuff, it's just so weird to me. It just doesn't make any sense.
Nuclear detonation of the offending heart and annihilation of the entire planet.
Yeah. So it's stuff like that, man. It's stuff like that. You get kind of sucked into it.
But it's great, man. It's like, you know, it's almost like playing pretend when you're a kid and you just come up with crazy names for stuff, and it just works. I draw my hyper pistol not to fire upon you, but to commit suicide.
Oh, this is such a weird fucking series. So yeah. Do you have any last thoughts on the Metabarons, sir?
Man, it is great. This is
that, huh?
You just need to read it. Just anyone in the sound of my voice, you need to find the Metabarons and read it. Get the ultimate collection.
So you're not telling them just to get a little something to check it out. You're telling them to go all the way in.
Get all the way in. You can't. There's like no half measures with the Metabarons.
There ain't no half stepping Metabarons. No. You can't be half stepping reading this joint.
Yeah.
All right then. Cool.
I mean, the forward here, you know, it says, and of course, the greatest never made of all time, the maestro's transliteration of Dune. I do not want to respect the novel. I wanted to recreate it, said Jodorowsky.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. There you go. So he openly admits, like, yeah,
hey,
this is
my love letter.
This is my love letter.
I'll let you read this forward before I leave, so you can.
All right, then.
Gain the
I will
measure.
check that out.
Yeah, since it didn't come with your digital copy.
It did not.
Don't spill that water on my books, or I'll murder you.
And with that being said. You got anything else, sir?
That is it, man. We're up to the ends.
We're up in the ends now, so we're about halfway through this bit of business, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I mean, I feel like, you know, so the time has flown by.
Time has flown by.
Yeah. It's good. It's good times.
It is good times.
Like I said, you know, I have gotten a lot of great. I've been exposed to a lot of great books. The majority of stuff I've been exposed to are things that I've enjoyed reading. So
yeah,
I'm always down for good reading recommendations.
Let's keep this train rolling. Quick preview. What is your in book?
It is Next Wave.
All right, a Marvel.
Agents of Hate.
All right then.
And it's the Ultimate Collection. It's done by Warren Ellis and Stuart Immonen. You know about Ellis. You got a thing against Ellis?
I'm hitting this on Ellis. We'll talk about it on the end episode. All right. I'm bringing to the table, going back to back to Image, Nailbiter.
Nailbiter. I look forward to reading it.
Yeah.
I have not heard anything about Nailbiter.
It is our first horror comic that we got coming out. So, yeah.
I mean, that Ghost Rider one was horrible. Ghost Rider, Punisher,
and Wolverine. Oh man, that damn near made me quit this whole podcast.
It's like, what are we doing here? What are we even doing?
Yeah, this is not professional.
Dave, I know I wanted to go off page, but this isn't even in the same hemisphere.
Realm. Yeah. So all right, so we got Next Wave, we got Nailbiter coming at you here in a couple weeks on the ABC's TPBs.
See you then.